Dolphins fans, what is going on today? It is Ben Morgan of the Fins Up Network, continuing our coverage of the 2024 NFL Draft as it relates to your Miami Dolphins. So today we are going to hit my top 5 targets for the Miami Dolphins in the first round. That pick at 21 overall. Now, when I was going through my list of prospects for this particular video, sort of hard to shorten it to just 5. I truly think the way we attacked free agency and the prospects that are overall in this draft, it sets up pretty nicely for the Miami Dolphins right now, not only to get a really good player, but I think a potential impact player already in year one. But I do want to hear from you because, like I said, tough list to kind of shorten up to just 5. So if you've got a guy that's on your short list that didn't end up making my top 5, go ahead, drop him in the comments. Curious to see where your head is at. Let's jump in right away. We're going to go Brian Thomas, wide receiver out of LSU. Now, I will personally be pretty damn surprised if the Miami Dolphins go with a wide receiver in round 1. The moves that we made so far in free agency and just kind of everything that we've done in free agency kind of makes me think that, yeah, there's an opportunity there. One way or another, though, I think trench play, offensive line, defensive line, one way or another, I think that wins out. We will obviously get to that. We're only at number 5. But if you're looking at Brian Thomas, you're looking at a specimen. 6'3", 209 pounds. Listen to these combine numbers. 4'3", 340, 38.5-inch vertical, 10'6" broad jump. He posted a relative athletic score of 9.97. Now, if you're not 100% familiar with that, what that is, keep this in perspective. It was the most athletic LSU combine prospect ever. We're talking the likes of Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. The dude put on a show at the combine, and he absolutely put it on tape last year as well. Balled out last year with Jaden Daniels at quarterback there for the LSU Tigers. 68 catches, over 1,100 yards, 17 touchdowns, had 17.3 yards per catch. Now, the 2 years prior to that were nowhere near that season. His best season before that was only 361 yards and 5 touchdowns. So you're going to have some people out there that kind of doubt him a little bit just because that production wasn't there before Jaden Daniels was there. Regardless, what he put on tape last year, couple of things. That ability to be a deep ball threat at wide receiver and possess really damn good ball tracking ability. Tell you what right there, the things I just said, his size right there, those are intriguing fits to say the least in our offense. Like I said, even if you don't want to go wide receiver at number 21, that size, that speed, those traits, it fits. He does need to work on becoming a little bit better of a route runner in general. He's not super polished yet, so there is a bit of a rawness to him. However, think about that. That's sort of scary. When you factor in what he could potentially turn into if he sharpens up those skills, yeah, that's a scary wide receiver right there. So I like Brian Thomas. Like I said, he's obviously not my first choice at number 21, but if Miami wants to pursue a wide receiver in round 1, Thomas is likely going to be one of the guys on that short list. Your Marvin Harrisons, your Odunzes, your neighbors, those guys are likely going to be off the board. Let's jump into number 4. I talked about trench play. Byron Murphy, interior defensive lineman out of Texas. 6 foot 297, ran a 4.87 40 at a 9 foot 3-inch broad jump, 33-inch vertical. So he is definitely, you saw it right there, 6 foot 297. He's on the smaller side when it comes to the interior defensive lineman, especially when you compare him to that other guy at Texas, T'Vondre Sweat, who went like 360 at the combine. Yeah, a little bit smaller there, but he helps make up for that lack of size with athleticism, quickness, lower body power, just in general. That first step quickness that he has, it's huge when it comes to blowing up run plays in the backfield. And it's also a big reason why his pass rush metrics, they're pretty damn impressive. Last year, he had 6 sacks, 36 quarterback hurries. So 6 sacks it's a fine, decent number from an interior defensive lineman, but he is getting to that quarterback with an array of ways, setting up others in the process with 36 hurries. So yeah, the first step quickness, the good catalog of rush moves from the interior, like I said, those are pretty damn big strengths. And as I mentioned, the weaknesses, those are coming into play more so when you consider the size. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he navigates around the bigger, more athletic NFL, the centers and the guards. Also, how does he handle double teams at the next level? So as most players, yeah, He's not a flawless prospect, but definitely a guy that could help fill the shoes along with the array of interior defensive linemen that we added so far this offseason when it comes to replacing the likes of Christian Wilkins and then to a lesser extent, Raekwon Davis. All right, let's go to number 3. Laiatu Latu, one of the best names to be able to say in this draft. And I tell you what, if he ends up with the Dolphins, you're probably going to hear his name a lot. Now, I do put this one out there, assuming that both edge rushers Dallas Turner and Jared Verse were already off the board. I do think they'll be gone before 21. Obviously, we'll see. But man, Latu, 6'5", 259. The first thing many are going to bring up are comparisons to a guy that we already have, and that's Jaelan Phillips. Both obviously edge rushers, both spent time at UCLA. The one that's really going to stand out, though, both suffered injuries that they could not get cleared from at one point or another. Latu missed 2020 and 2021 with a neck injury while he was at Washington. Ended up transferring to UCLA where he did get medically cleared. And along with that clearance came with just turning into an outright menace. In 2022, he bounces back with 10.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. Nice way to bounce back. 2023, he put it all out there. 21.5 tackles for a loss, 13 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 2 interceptions. He went on to win the Lombardi Award, the Ted Hendricks Award, which goes to the nation's best defensive end. He was a first-team All-American. He was a Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year, and he was a finalist for the Chuck Bednarik Defensive Player of the Year. So you are looking at a super decorated prospect that likely would have been what, a top 10, 15 pick if it wasn't for the injury history. But man, you look at Latu, and he's intriguing with, it's the obvious, Chubb, Jaelan Phillips, they're both coming back from injury. So the idea with that Latu could hold some things down with Shaq Barrett, who he brought in through at one point during free agency here, while those two get healthy. And then obviously the plan would be Jaelan Phillips and Latu to be your cornerstones at edge moving forward 2025 and beyond. But man, it's the things you love with edge rushers. It's an array of pass rushing moves, probably the biggest catalog of edge rushing moves of anyone in this entire class. He's pretty solid at setting the edge already as well in the run game. Like I said, he's likely not going to be your first edge rusher off the board. I mentioned Turner, I mentioned Verse. You could argue, though, Latu is maybe the most talented edge rusher in this entire class. Let's keep it in the trenches. Offensive lineman, Jackson Powers Johnson. You probably see by the smile on my face, I love this guy as a prospect. 6'3", 328, experience at both guard and center while at Oregon. Actually didn't settle into his role at starter at center until this final year at Oregon. And what did he do? He went on to win an award for the nation's top center. So you're looking at position versatility where Jackson Powers Johnson can play guard if you wanted Brewer to remain at center, where he's been most recently with the Tennessee Titans, or if you don't want to mess around with the recent success that JPJ had at Oregon at center, well, you can move Brewer to one of the guard spots because, yeah, he's had some previous history there at the NFL level at both guard spots as well with the Tennessee Titans. But you look at JPJ, super strong upper body. He plays with that anger, that aggression that you love to see from some of the top tier offensive linemen. He simply doesn't have a ton of weaknesses outside of the limited overall reps at center. Like I said, he kind of platooned a little bit around from the guard spots those first 2 years at Oregon. I would have said, like I said, I'm all about this prospect. Pre-combine, pre-free agency, JPJ is my number one guy at 21 especially. But you add Brewer in free agency along with my increased interest in number one here. And I'm going to spoil it. Troy Fautanu. That sort of dropped JPJ ever so slightly back to my number 2 prospect. But like I said, spoiler alert, my number 1 guy, Troy Fautanu, offensive lineman from Washington. I said there was a common theme in this video. Outside of Thomas, you get a lot of trench play. Fautanu, though, 6'4", 317, primarily played tackle while he was at Washington, but shorter arms, you probably know about this already. Shorter arms for him probably move him into guard at the next level. So you're looking at another positional versatility guy at offensive lineman that's coming off yet another impressive season, just like Powers Johnson. And guess what? Fautanu, also known for that aggressive play style that we love from offensive linemen. The nice thing about Fautanu, though, and why I think he can really succeed and excel at that next level at the guard spot is that he has got really damn good athleticism and that quickness to get out in front of blocks in a zone blocking scheme. So the positives that he has in regards to his skill set fit ever so nicely in our system and how we want to do things in the run game. You're probably going to run into some people that say that he'll struggle early on when it comes to pass protection due to he's got some issues with his hand placement against some of those stronger interior pass rushers from the inside. I personally think that this is something that's both coachable and you can improve on some with the more experience that you get from the interior at the next level as well. But quite honestly, to wrap this up, if the Dolphins either get JPJ or Fautanu at 21, you could be looking at a week 1 starter at either center or guard. I don't think I'm really going out on a limb by making that claim either. So that is what I have got for today, the top 5 list today. Like I said, I've got a lot of NFL draft stuff coming up here as well. We talked a lot about offensive and defensive line. I'm going to be doing similar things, but like recaps of just those positions as well. So we'll get more prospects talked about in some of those videos. But like I said, if you've got a guy that I didn't hit on, go ahead, drop them in the comments. You know the drill. But like I said, that is what I've got for today, Dolphins fans. And until next time, Fins